Good morning and welcome to another edition of Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. My name is Darren Swenson. Our Town, as always, brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust. Going to take a full toy department approach to Our Town this week. Of course, high school activities resuming this week, and football Friday nights are a big part of our communities in Northeast Iowa and Southeast Minnesota. Every week, we have our coaches conversation interviews. Those are video interviews that we do each and every week, and they're available on all of the West Communication websites, kvikradio.com, hawkrock.com, knei-radio.com, and kmrvradio.com. And we are going to take the audio from those interviews and play them for you on Our Town. This is a preview of what you get each and every week of the high school football season, some of the content we create on a weekly basis. And we'll have 8 football coach conversations here this morning. We'll talk to Turkey Valley coach Mark Scott, MFL Marmac coach Dan Anderson, Crestwood coach Justin Denner, Key High coach Chad Winters, North Fayette Valley coach Justin Hines, Jason Orth, the Southwind coach, Chad Bierman, walk-on coach of the defending state champion Indians, and we'll kick off the show with Decorah coach Pat Truin. We'll do that right now. This is Our Town on 94.9 and 99.1 The River. It's week 1 of the high school football season. The Decorah Vikings will open up the 2021 campaign over at Crestwood on Friday night. Chatting here with Decorah coach Pat Truin, and I know you've been at practice formally now for 3 weeks. I had a week of preseason camp prior to that. What's made you most happy about the guys to this point?
Well, we have some leaders that are in the senior group that really want to be successful, and they've helped bring the team along. They've pushed people to do some things, and we've had to work pretty hard. It's it's a smaller group, so there's a lot to do when you don't have as many people around. You're getting a lot of reps and you're not getting as much rest. So, the group has grown. We also got a couple new people out, a couple people that have moved in, a couple people that hadn't been out for a year or two, and so that's added to the group mix too. So those are some really good things for us.
You mentioned you have a smaller roster than you've had in years past. Can you turn that into a positive, knowing the fact that you do get more reps, and the more reps you get, the better you should get?
Yeah, that's what so sorry. Automatic lights. So maybe
you never looked better, Coach.
Get rid of that. I don't know. Yeah, that's probably the best way to view me. So I could put something on my screen. That's what we have to do. We have to get more guys involved, more guys pushing each other. And there's a real positive in, you're going to get some chances, you're going to get seen, you're going to get looked at. And, you get chances to prove yourself, whether it's, in practice or in then the scrimmage, and then, in some game time, you're going to get more looks. And so we hope that we can push each other enough to really grow as a group.
You did have a scrimmage last Friday night. New Hampton came up to your place and got to see somebody besides yourself. What'd you take away from that scrimmage?
Well, we have some players that can really make some plays. I mean, we put some plays together, a few big plays, and we also know that, okay, we've got to show up excited. And I think we were excited to play, but each group has its own personality. We're a little quieter than last year's group, and that can be good. But we got to get out there and rip into people right away. So we liked a lot of the things that we saw on film. Everybody out there was, there were lots of good efforts going on. We know that we can keep growing from there, but we like banging on other people instead of just on ourselves. And it's early, we were 1 week into contact when you play a scrimmage, which so it's hard to get a perfect feel for what are you going to be like. So you got to make some real progress during this week, and I think we will.
And I know ever since the state allowed you to start scrimmaging other teams as compared to just holding the inter squad scrimmage a week prior to the season, it's something that you have done consistently with New Hampton. Obviously, you like what you're getting out of it. What's the advantage to seeing somebody else as compared to yourself in a scrimmage setting?
Well, the first thing is that, it's that measuring stick that's more real than it's like when you're going against yourself. It's like, how good can we do things? And then when you go against another opponent that's been practicing hard too and really getting up for the game, you get that measuring stick. And then the other thing is just, you kind of go that ones on ones and twos on twos mentality where, you've got guys in practice that are less experienced. Maybe they're just learning what's going on, where you play against an opponent, they've got some veteran people too that you're putting out there. So we've really liked it over the years, and we structure it so that both teams get to see some things. They get to feel out their players and feel out all groups, and everybody gets reps. So this year we put, a freshman group together too to play against their freshmen. So we got to see everybody on film. And so that was really nice. So I like the ones versus ones mentality, but then also to structure every single person in the program getting competitive reps.
What would you say your main strength is at this point?
I'm hoping that you can say it's our defense, where we've got a lot of guys returning and we move around pretty well. Our guys know the scheme. They've been running the scheme for a few years now, and we hope that we're sound on defense. Certainly, we have a few positions on the defensive front was mostly seniors playing last year, but we've got a new group of guys coming in and getting after it up front. And then, we hope we have some returning skill game on offense and special teams. We returned some guys who had some yards in the receiving world and in the rushing world. Probably about 5 guys that played a ton on offense. So our experienced people, hopefully they keep looking, acting, and playing experienced. And we've got, a few more guys that played some that are going to get to step up and play a lot right now. So probably our defense, and hopefully those skill guys knowing that they can make some big plays because they did it last year. And then hopefully we can get some explosive plays going because we've done it before.
I know at this point in the season, everybody needs to grow and get better, but what part of your team needs to grow the most here in the early going?
Well, it's certainly in the depth area of, some new guys, whether it's juniors or new people coming in. It's getting that depth in the lines so that they can play like a varsity starter, or an all district guy. So you've got to get as many guys on your team as they can ready to play varsity snaps at a very high level. So we've got to work on our depth, and we have been. We've got a couple of offensive lines that really have been working together, working hard, and the younger guys or newer guys that are getting in there, they're working really hard to get going. So it's certainly that's the area that we've got to gel in, probably gelling in both sides of the line.
What do you expect out of the Cadets Friday night?
We expect a rivalry game. We expect a lot of guys on the field there. We've exchanged rosters and sent those out. They're going to play a lot of people. They're going to play a lot of juniors and seniors. They're going to have a lot of enthusiasm. I think they're going to do some similar things as in the past. They want to run some spread, but also power football with spread. So they're trying to combine everything that Cresco's always done in the past. And then, they're just going to get after you with some great enthusiasm. I think they feel like they have nothing to lose, and a new coach, you get some new enthusiasm in the program. So we're going to see a team that flies around a lot, probably pretty attacking. They've got a big offensive line, but then they put in a lot of quick guys on the defensive line. So it'll be a hard fought game.
And you mentioned Justin Denner taking over as head coach, and he's been in the program as an assistant for the last few years, but he is the head coach now. Does that make prepping for a team with a new head coach in week number 1 a little bit more difficult?
Yeah, you never know if they're going to try a lot of new things or some new things. I'm sure they watched our scrimmage and we watched their scrimmage, so we could at least see a few of the basics of what they want to do, and they saw some of the basics of what we want to do. Those first games are a bit of a mystery as to what kinds of things people have in there. We kind of did a lot of general preparation in the first couple of weeks where we used schemes and cards from a lot of teams so that we could try to ready ourselves that way. But when it comes to defense, that you got to really prepare for any kind of a scheme, and so that's what we've been doing, is getting ready for most any scheme. Saw a few things at the scrimmage that we'll really work on, and then in our preparations on offense, that's the hard thing. Are they going to run a similar front, or are they going to run a wildly different front? And so far the same, but I imagine they're going to be pretty aggressive.
All right, Coach, keep your kids healthy. We wish best of luck here in week number 1.
All right. Thank you, Darren.
That's Pat Truen, head coach of the Decorah Vikings, getting ready for the Crestwood Cadets this Friday night. It's week number 1 of the high school football season, getting a season preview with walk-on coach Chad Bierman. And Coach, you guys have been at camp 3.5 weeks now. What are you most pleased with to this point?
Well, we had a lot of shoes to fill, and so we got a young lineman who are going to have to step up. And I think they've made some strides. I guess we'll find out Friday, but they've come a long way, and I think we're going to see a pretty good line play, especially as they get more time together. They'll really sharpen up.
And that was something you were able to accomplish last year. Your line got off to a little bit of a rocky start week number 1, but once they gelled, they got things moving in the right direction. Do you see that same possibility this year?
I would think so. The talent's there. They've been working hard. Coach John does a good job with our linemen, and so we're seeing a lot of development with them. And I think we'll see that through the year. So we'll see how we are week 1, but I'm confident we'll improve as we go on.
What are the areas that need the most growth right now?
Well, we have obviously we got to replace quarterback, our main running back. We got kids that have the talent to do it, but again, it's an experience thing that you can't give a kid. If they got talent, that's great, and you can coach them up and try to teach them. But experience, there's only one way to get that, and that's by doing.
And you got a Waverly Shellrock team coming to town this week to open up the season. What do you expect out of the Go Hawks?
We expect them to be very good this year. They played a bunch of sophomores last year, kids where you could see the talent, and that I'm sure that they put in some good years or good off season. The Newsom kid and the fullbacks back. I think at least 3 of their 5 starting offensive linemen. Those kids were sophomores last year. All of them were sophomores, and so they'll have another year under the belt. They got good size and good athleticism, and we think we'll have our hands full.
And looking into week number 1 with the inexperience that you have at many positions, are you scouting Waverly a lot this week, or are you just kind of focusing on ways you can get better? How do you balance that in your preparation to this week?
Well, they've been a traditional wing T team, and so that requires a certain amount of preparation just to deal with stuff you'll see with that offense that you don't see with a lot of other offenses. So we've been focusing pretty heavily on Waverly. Like I said, we think they're going to be outstanding this year, and so we want to give them our best shot.
And in these first 3 weeks of non-district play, before you get your district underway, how are you approaching this week? Obviously, you take the field to win every game, but in this non-district play, what are the areas that you hope to see grow the most by the time week 4 gets here when the games really count for you?
Well, just kids understanding their assignments on defense. I mean, we're seeing progress there, but there's still some errors that are made. And then, like I said, the offensive line gelling, and that takes just playing together and timing things up and knowing where they're going to be. And defense is kind of the same way too, where the linebackers have to get a feel for where the D line is going to be on different plays and where gaps will open up. So it's going to be a learning process, and if we can get wins while doing that, that's great. We know coming out of the first three, we'll be in good shape for the district as long as we can stay healthy.
All right, Coach, we appreciate the season preview. Keep your kids healthy. We wish best of luck here in week number 1.
All right, thank you.
Chad Bierman, head coach of the Walk-On Indians. The Indians open up against the Waverly Shellrock Go-Hawks Friday night. The South Winneshiek Coach Conversation brought to you by Decorah Hardware in Ashen and Dave's Collision Shop in Ashen. The Southwind Warrior football team going to open up at home against North Fayette Valley this Friday night. We're chatting here with Southwind coach Jason Orton. I know, Coach, you guys have been at it for about 3 weeks. What's made you the most happy in preseason camp to this point?
Well, we've been able to stay relatively healthy for the most part. We had a scrimmage last Friday, and it went really well. Got a lot of we got a lot of kids a chance to get some reps and play against a different team. And we're just in year 2 of a new system offensively. We're definitely strides ahead of where we were last year.
And with the new system, how are you ahead of where you were last year? Is just that year of experience mean that much more to the kids that are coming back?
Yeah, absolutely. And kids are getting refreshers instead of learning something new for the first time, and so you're able to avoid some of those growing pains that we had last year, starting off the season, where we really didn't feel too comfortable with the system till a few weeks in. And then that goes for coaches too, as far as play calling and strategies in game and so forth. But yeah, I think we're definitely way ahead of where we've been with last year's season.
I know you had a scrimmage against Crestwood last Friday night. What'd you take away from that scrimmage?
That we were able to play a physical team and be successful. Cresco's known for being a physical program, and had a lot of big kids out there. And we went right at them and had a lot of success. So we feel like we're right where we need to be to start the season.
Coming into this season, you got a lot of spots to fill. You had talent. You graduated a very talented senior class at a lot of key positions. Is there a way, though, that you can turn that into a positive, knowing the fact that, there were a lot of talented players that graduated this year, but spots are open, and if things fall your way and you want it bad enough, spots can be yours. Is that a message that you can send?
Yeah, I do want to say, though, that this group really fits our system much better. Last year, we went in knowing that with the talent that we had, regardless, we were probably going to be successful no matter what we were doing, just because we had some pretty explosive athletes in some positions. But this group in particular, across the board, really fits this scheme, and the kids coming up do as well. And I really feel like that defensively too. Let's not forget about that. Defensively, we're going to be way stronger this year as we return basically our entire front seven. And we've got our area that I was most concerned with in the defensive backfield, because we graduated 5 seniors from back there that played 4 spots basically. We've got some really talented younger players that are really stepping in and filling those roles for us. And I actually think our secondary is going to be one of our strengths.
And I know from an offensive system standpoint, with what you want to do, you need a pretty good fullback, and having a kid like Logan Hageman is a pretty good start, isn't it?
Yeah, and it also doesn't help to have Keegan Streeter and Parker Timp too running the ball from that position, and then Sam Conway and Evan Bushman and Nick Holeen and Brady Ort and Carson Wenold. We've got a lot of backs, and that's what this offense is about, is getting the ball to multiple people in different ways and letting the quarterback be a decision maker, which we've got 2 guys that are doing an outstanding job, and Nick Holeen and Brady Ort right now. That's 1A and 1B for us. They're both doing an excellent job, and they're way ahead of the game for this early in the season.
And having experienced kids on the offensive line up front, that helps a lot too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, having a guy like Ethan Timp is you can't go wrong with that. You know, Ethan's been a 3-year starter for us. Great leader, excellent in the weight room, great work ethic. You know, I can't say enough good things about Ethan. And you know, we had some other guys that are stepping in, and Lane Quandle is also a returning starter, and Landon Garcia played a lot in the down the stretch, and actually had to start in the postseason for us due to COVID and injuries and so forth. So we do actually have quite a bit of experience coming back on the offensive line, even though we did graduate a few guys there.
And North Fayette Valley, you're going to be coming to town this Friday night. What do you expect out of the Tiger Hawks?
A physical game. It's going to be tight, physical game. Last year was that way. It's always going to be that way.
And how important was it to kind of get that rivalry restarted last year, and to continue that rivalry with this new round of district play this year?
Yeah, it's a great rivalry. We play each other in all the other sports. You know, there's mutual respect, and it's a fun game for our kids, and it was definitely our top choice going into the off season.
All right, Jason, keep your kids healthy. We wish best of luck here in week number 1, and hopefully we can be talking about a 1-0 record next week when we have our conversation. Best of luck to you.
Thanks, Jared. Appreciate everything you do.
Jason Ord, head coach of the Southwind Warriors. They open up this Friday night against North Fayette Valley. North Fayette Valley Tiger Hawks open up at Southwind on Friday night. Justin Hines is the head coach of the Tiger Hawks. And Coach, you've been at it for about 3 weeks now. What's made you most happy in practice to this point?
I'd have to say our scrimmage on Friday night with Mac Valley, just really encouraged by a lot of the things we saw, on the way guys stepped up, and you could tell that they've grown from last year, and in mindset and ability, and just had a bunch of guys carry the ball really well, and a lot of guys fighting for their spot. So it was good to see.
What's the advantage to facing someone else as compared to holding an inter squad scrimmage the week before the game start?
Yeah, we talked about that as a coaching staff afterwards. You know, you can go against the same guy, you know, you go against him in practice for 3 weeks, you go against him in a scrimmage, it's live, but you know what to expect out of that guy. And, you know how hard you're going to have to work, and kind of what he's going to do and what you're going to do. And just going against that guy you're unfamiliar with, and you put that little bit of unknown in there with their offense and their defense, and you don't know that guy, and it just adds that little bit of extra where you really find out a lot about yourself.
What would you say your main strengths are at this point?
I would have to say our team speed and some of our playmakers will be a big deal for us. We're not real big, so we'll have to use those things to our advantage.
What area needs the most growth right now? I know football coaches will always say you need to get better in every area at this point in the season, but what area needs the most growth right now?
Yeah, I would probably our defense back seven is really inexperienced. They're all upperclassmen, and a lot of them have played and even started varsity games, but not many, and a few of them might be in a few different spots than they're used to. So, you know, they'll grow there, and they might have a little bit of a learning curve right away, but I think we'll be fine, you know, come a few games.
And I know you do have some players to replace, at least on the stat sheet from last year. Can you take a situation like that and turn that into a positive, knowing the fact that kids have to compete for time, and there's opportunities for them to do so?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, most of our carries and tackles and all that graduated with us last year, and like you said, there's opportunities for these guys to break in there, and by showing us that they, you know, could carry it on Friday night, then you want to trust them more once this Friday night comes.
Southwind going to be your opponent coming up on Friday night. What do you expect out of the Warriors?
Yeah, you know, they kind of surprised us last year, switching offense and jumping in that flex bone, and so we'll be looking for some more of that. But we expect a solid, you know, good coach team, and it'll be a good battle.
And I know you kind of got that rivalry restarted last year, and you picked them up again for this 2-year district cycle. How important was it to keep that close in Upper Iowa Conference rivalry going?
Yeah, especially for those first games. You never know how far you're going to have to travel for your district games now. So for the first games, we like to keep it close, and had agreements with Southwind and Sumner, and we're hoping to get Independence, but put us with Postville too. So 3 close games these next 2 years, and really those 3 games mean nothing come playoff times and district times. So you can play other guys and figure out who can help you and where they can help you too. So.
All right, Coach. Hopefully you can get the season off to a good start Friday night. We'll wish best of luck.
Sure. Thanks, Darren.
Justin Hines, head coach of the North Fayette Valley Tiger Hawks. They take on Southwind Friday night. The Key High football team will open up against West Central this Friday night, getting a Key High football preview with head coach Chad Winters. And Coach, you guys have been at practice for about 3 weeks now. What's pleased you the most to this point?
Return a lot of guys that have played a lot of snaps on Friday night. So they knew what to expect. They set a good pace at practice, did what we wanted them to, got through it pretty injury free, had some bumps and bruises like everybody's going to have, but got better each day, handled the heat that we had there right at the beginning pretty decently, and kids were in shape and ready to go. And tough turnaround for some of the boys, though. I'll be honest, I was a little worried about that. Played in the state championship baseball game on Thursday and turn around and come right into camp the following week, and not much of a downtime for them. But they did pretty darn good handling that. So
I'd imagine a lot of your kids, if they waited a little longer than that, the kids that were playing baseball, get bored pretty easily, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they're pretty active kids, so they're resilient. A couple days down and they're chomping at the bit to do something. All those kids are multi-sport athletes, and that's what we need at a small school.
And with the number of kids you got coming back, the level of experience you got coming back, how much more confident does that make you coming into a season, knowing the fact that you've got guys that have been there and done that?
Very much so. A lot of them have been in the battle. A couple of them played as freshmen. A lot of them played as sophomores. All of them played as juniors. So it just helps where we're at in regards to offense, defense at this time of the year compared to where we have been in the past. Not as big of a learning curve for that group. Plus, they're pretty smart kids, so they pick up on stuff pretty quick.
And other than the experience, what would you say your main strength is?
Linebacker, defensive backs, they all return. Offensive backfield ends, they all return. We lost some of our big boys up front. That's what we got to replace. So I think we lost like four or 5 catches on offense was our production that we lost there. Brought back 3 of our 4 top tacklers. So that's bodes well for us going into the season.
And you have some kids to replace on the offensive line. And of course, that's usually going to be a work in progress to get them to gel as a unit. Is there anything you can do to speed up that gelling, or is it just one of those things that has to come?
I think it's just one of those things that has to come. They got to get used to playing one another. Alex Getzinger played a lot offensively and defensively, all district performer. So obviously that helps having a guy his caliber coming back. Kai Timmerman comes off a knee injury that cost him his junior season. He was in contention to play quite a bit last year as well. So that helps soften the blow. And Tom Trundle's really stepped up this preseason and kind of took control of that other spot. And now we just have to develop some depth behind those guys.
And West Central coming to town this Friday night. What do you expect out of the Blue Devils?
Coach Milder's been there for 50 years, I believe now. I think 51. It could be right in that area. And a close friend of mine, know him really well. They're always going to be well coached. They're going to do things the right way. They got some kids coming back that are really good athletes that we saw in the spring on the track. Made themselves a lot better athlete. Kind of a guessing game that first game. You never know where they might move people around. Brandon Cushing, Creighton, Hogue, Nathan Dolph, Logan Westcott. Those are 4 guys that athlete-wise, they're pretty darn good athletes. And if you make a mistake and miss a tackle, they can make you hurt. So we need to be ready for what they throw at us and adjust for anything that we might not see. But we we kind of do what we do and they do what they do, and have a pretty good idea of what they're going to come forward with.
All right, Coach, keep your kids healthy. Hopefully Friday night's the start of a successful Key High football season. We wish you best of luck.
All right. Thanks, Darren. I appreciate it.
Head coach Chad Winters, the Key Hawks and the Blue Devils Friday night. The season opener for the Crestwood Cadets this week as they take on the Decorah Vikings at home on Friday night. Head coach Justin Denner joining us. And Coach, you've been at this for about 3 weeks now. What are you most happy with the guys to this point?
Oh, I'm pleased with our effort and attention to detail. We've got new schemes coming in offensively and a little adjustments here and there on the defensive side of the ball, and our guys have done a really good job of coming in focused and ready to go and learning and bearing with us with some of the hiccups that come with it, and just giving maximal effort, and that's been really fun to see.
Last Friday night, you had a scrimmage against Southwind. What'd you take away from the scrimmage?
That was an outstanding experience for our guys. I talked to them after the thing. We had about 85% of our guys hadn't taken a meaningful snap in a game Friday night under the lights before. So just the ability to get to game speed against a team that we know is going to be really tough in Southwind. And, be able, our defensive guys to be able to kind of see, okay, hey, this is what it takes to play fast and to make tackles. And, our offensive guys, being able, okay, we got to sustain blocks just a half a second longer, widen splits out or, stuff like that. So it was really good for us to have those types of things. And we feel really good with where we're at. And we're excited for, this upcoming week.
When you look at the stat sheet from last year, a lot of the guys that registered those statistics are no longer with the program. Can you maybe turn that into a little bit of a positive, knowing the fact that there's plenty of opportunities for the right fits based on what they've shown thus far?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, that was the thing we promoted on, is like the best part about, this transition and happened where it was, is that no one had any say in what was going on from last year to this year, so it's really been, okay, who's stepped up, who's done what they needed to do, who's, kind of stepped up to the plate, if you will, and given us the best, chance for us to be successful. And, it doesn't matter your name, grade, whatever, we're just, we're looking for the best that we got. And that's been huge for us.
And how hungry have the guys been, knowing the fact that playing time's available?
Yeah. And they've stepped up, and we've had a lot of great competitions, on both sides of the ball, guys really competing, pushing better. It was really cool to kind of see, guys kind of jump levels. They see one guy do something one day, then the next day, the second guy's like, well, if you can do that, I can do that plus more. And, we've had a lot of guys jump a lot of levels here in those last couple of weeks. And that's been really fun to see.
Friday night, you got the Decorah Vikings coming to town in the continuation of that rivalry. What do you expect out of Decorah?
Man, they're going to be tough as nails, as per usual. We're excited for the challenge. I know defensively, Keenan Tyler's back and, leading, led the team in tackles, or leading tackle guy coming back. And he was a handful for us to try and block last year. And then, wide receiver number 6 there, Bachman, I think is his name off the top of my head. I can't remember. He had that huge catch for us on, that, broke our backs last year. He's back. So we know it's going to be a dog fight. We're hoping to, put our best foot forward right away and kind of be the best team that we can be. And, if that gets us to where we need to go, awesome. If not, we'll, regroup and continue working forward to get ourselves ready for the next.
I know you have a tough pre-district schedule. What type of approach are you taking with these games? Obviously, you take the field to win every Friday night, but what type of approach are you taking, knowing the fact that you have inexperience and you're probably going to go through a little bit of growing pains, but if you're ready for district play, that can better you in the long run.
Yeah, and obviously, anytime you play, you want to make sure that you end up coming out of the game healthy, right? So anytime we go out, we want to make sure that we're as healthy as we can possibly be, and we're not telling the dudes to hey, stay healthy, so don't play, because that gets them injuries, right? But we're doing everything we can from a coaching standpoint to make sure that we put ourselves in the best position to be successful. And we fully expect, hey, it's going to be a dogfight, but we like our team. It's that standard preseason, everybody likes each other type of a deal. But yeah, we love where we're at. We love our guys, and I'll put those guys up against a lot of different people here, and we're expecting to give a great fight, and we're hoping to pull out the W.
And I know high school athletics, high school activities are about young people, but you've been coaching for quite a while, and this is your first game as a head coach. How many butterflies do you have right now?
Honestly, that part of it hasn't probably hit me yet. We just started school, and so I'm kind of more whirlwind of making sure that I got my pre-calc and AP calc kids going in the right direction there. And then all of a sudden, I think it's probably going to hit me Thursday night into Friday morning. I don't know how much I'm going to sleep. I might have to sleep on the couch to not wake up my wife and kid and dog and all that type of stuff. But I'm super excited for the opportunity, and I know the guys are too. And I've been telling the guys, if you don't have the nerves, like something's wrong. You should have it, and you got to use it for your advantage. And so that's the idea. Let it heighten you, not paralyze you. And that's the goal here for our guys and myself included.
All right, Coach. Well, it ought to be a dandy of a ball game. If it was half as entertaining as last year's game, it's still going to be pretty darn good. Keep your kids healthy. We wish you best of luck Friday night.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thank you for everything you do.
Justin Denner, head coach of the Crestwood Cadets and Vikings, Friday night in Cresco. This MFL Marmac Coach Conversation brought to you by Havlicek Trucking, Meyer Auto Service, and Birdnow Chevrolet. Dan Anderson is the head coach of the MFL Marmac Bulldogs, and he joins us to preview week number 1 of the season. And Dan, it's a new season. It's a new group of kids. It's a new dynamic, new opponents, new district, new class for you. A lot of things are new, but quality football kids remain the same. And I'd imagine you got to be excited about the guys you got coming back.
Yeah, we are. We're excited about what we've got coming back. We've returning 8 starters on offense and 9 on defense. And so when you go to the state quarterfinals, with the team last year, I'll be honest, we kind of considered those guys last year to be a bit of overachievers. We thought we'd take some lumps, until we could figure things out with some of those new guys on the offensive line. And the thing is, we did have some problems with our offensive line last year with all those new faces in there. But we won in other ways. We won with good special teams, good defense. And they started figuring things out. By the end of the season, they were a really good, solid offensive line. And now we've got 4 of those 5 guys back. So, defensively, we've got our front 7 back from last year, all of them, all our linebackers and D linemen. And so we've got 2 of our 4 defensive backs back. So we feel pretty fortunate about what we have coming back for this season.
You've been at practice for about 3 weeks now. What's pleased you the most?
Well, the kids' attitudes are great. They usually are, but their attitudes are good. They're confident. They're not arrogant, but they're confident. They feel good. They understand, they've been put in some tough games. We've been in, a lot of those guys have played in 6 playoff games over the last 2 seasons. I mean, we've got guys that are seniors that have been playing since their sophomore, or even, Gabe's case, he's been starting since his freshman year, and Cullen's been starting since his sophomore year. So, we've got guys that have played a lot of varsity football games and a lot of experience. So, I'm glad that we've got the right attitude, and they've, they're confident in what they're doing. We made a lot of gains in strength and speed in the off season. When our season ended last year, to St. Ansgar, I think somebody forgot to tell our players that, because on Monday they were back in the weight room working, and there really wasn't an off season for a lot of these kids. It was still football. They didn't want it to end, and so they kept going. And it showed. The kids that we've got back on the offensive line are all 10, 15, 20 pounds heavier. One kid's put on 40 plus pounds of muscle. Crazy. He just hit a growth spurt. So we got some size. We're not huge, but on our offensive line, we've got guys that are experienced coming back, and our skill guys too. Gabe's still about the same size, but Cullen's put on 10 pounds of muscle, and, Stalkers put on some muscle, and speed. When we tested them out, all that, they were faster. Decorah is running blazing fast times that we've never seen before here in 22 years. So, we feel pretty fortunate. We're much further along than we were last year at this time. I think with our 4-day camp that we had, it's optional, but everybody usually shows up, and you know how that works. Most people are supposed to be there at our camp. We were able to install much of our offense, and I think there at the end of the first day of official practice, we had 84% of our offense already installed. So in one day, of real practice, we had, not saying we ran it perfect, but that's the whole goal, is to try to get it there by game one. But we had a lot of our things that we hadn't installed until middle season last year already installed in the first week. So pretty happy about that.
Obviously, the program level has risen these last couple of years. You got to the playoffs and won a playoff game a couple of years ago, and went pretty deep into the playoffs last year. There's being that program on the rise, and now there's some expectations for your program. You're getting a lot of attention right now. How do you keep your kids at a level head and realize that there's a lot of work that went into getting the program to this level, but there's often even more work to keeping it at this level?
That's for sure. They understand that. You kind of challenge them, and when things aren't going quite right in practice, you kind of say, what do you want to do? You guys want to be the team that underachieves and the guys that let everybody else down that's built this? You need to get going. Let's pick it up. And they understand that. They understand that we need to continue to be the hunter and not the hunted. And so we were the hunter before, and now we're the team with the big crosshairs on our back, and we got to understand that we need to be proactive. Our guys, like I said, they're confident. They need to keep doing that. They need to be hungry and determined to eat. They need to be, they want to keep going and not just be happy with what we've done. They want to go further, and the coaches do. And I think that after last season, that was the mentality. These guys, the season didn't end, and they weren't satisfied with the quarterfinals. These guys want to get into the Unidome, and we've got an extremely tough schedule, and they understand how much work it's going to take. We gotta, when you're the hunter, you gotta, plan your hunt, and then you gotta hunt with your plan. And that's the mentality we've got. We got to understand that people are coming after us, and we're not going to let them. We're going to go after them, and we're not going to let teams sneak up on us.
And there is a new schedule, quite a few new opponents, quite a few quality opponents this year. Does that change your approach at all to this season? Or is it just a case of what you just mentioned? This is how we got here. This is how we're going to stay here.
Yeah, your approach doesn't change. Just you have to understand. And I think the kids have to understand, and the fans and everybody around us, that we still go in every game expecting we're going to win the game. But there's going to be a lot of close games this year, whether we win or lose. We expect them to be a really tight ball game. So you have to be in good physical condition. You have to make sure that everybody on your team is getting reps, and we're trying to get all of our second teamers and third teamers equal reps or near equal reps. About every 3 reps, we're rotating guys in and out, because if someone goes down, there's no excuse. We just have to make sure that if someone takes an injury or goes down, that the next guy in will do their job, and we can still win those tight ball games. And so the mentality really hasn't changed. We just know that the games are going to be tighter this year. The schedule's tough. When we asked for that, it wasn't we told, when we picked our non-district opponents and made our list, we searched out teams that were going to give us a challenge. And I told the kids, if we take a loss for non-district, against New Hampton or Osage or something like that, or Clayton Ridge, it's not the end of the world, because there's no RPI to make the playoffs. And we want to be battle tested going into our district play. And, the state obliged, they gave us a tough schedule. And we're all right with that. We won't shy away, but we understand that we've got some really tough opponents coming up, and we'll have to be ready every week, because you can't overlook anybody on our schedule, because anybody can get you.
And New Hampton going to be your first opponent coming up this Friday night. I know you played New Hampton way back in the day as a football player, but probably not a lot of MFL folks have had any association with the New Hampton program. What do you expect out of the Chickasaws Friday night?
Right. Well, first off, they've got a Hall of Fame football coach, Scott Ferks, over there, has been doing, I think he might be at 30 or 31 years. I consider myself pretty old, Darren. We're getting up there, and he was the coach coaching against me when I was playing at Decorah. You know, he was coaching at New Hampton, and we always had some great games, Decorah, New Hampton, back in '94. You know, when your class was a senior, my class was a junior. You know, they beat us in double overtime. They've always been well coached. They're tough. They come right at you. They're not anything fancy. You know what you're going to get. I mean, Coach Ferks could hand me this playbook and say, here you go. And we could do the same thing. Here's our playbook. There you go. And, you know, it's a matter of what can we get our kids to learn in a week or so and get them to play hard. And, you know, I don't think there'll be any surprises either way. It's just two hard-nosed football teams, you know, that are tough kids battling it out. And, you know, we just hope we come out on the positive end. It's going to be a tough one.
Well, we may be old in age, but we're young at heart, my friend. Can we go with that?
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we got, you know, I got a bunch of years left doing this, and I appreciate you know, what you do too, and bringing awareness to our football team and around the community. Everybody enjoys it.
All right, Dan. Now, hopefully you can get off to a good start this Friday night. Should be another fun season of Bulldog football. We wish you best of luck.
I got you a shirt here too, by the way. The old "Run People Over" shirt. Remember I told you I'd get you one? There you go. You got to tell me what size you want right there. Full steam ahead. That's been our motto all year. We didn't take any time off. So you let me know what size you want. Send me an address. I'll send you a shirt.
Well, I appreciate it, sir. Dan Anderson, head coach of the MFL Marmac Bulldogs. They open up against the Chickasaws of New Hampton Friday night. Turkey Valley opens up the season this Friday night against Edco, previewing the Trojan season with head coach Mark Scott. And coach, you guys have been at practice about 3 weeks now. What's made you the most happy with the guys to this point?
Their attitudes have been very good. I mean, they seem to be, you know, ready to go and want to get after it. And I think we're going to be pretty athletic, so we're kind of waiting to see.
And you look at the team you got coming back from last year, a lot of your statistical leaders do return. Does that make you a little bit more comfortable knowing the fact that you got a lot of experience coming back?
Yeah, that, you know, we had a lot of varsity experience with them coming back, and, you know, they're a year older, you're bigger, you're stronger, you're faster. So I'm looking forward to see how it works out for us.
You mentioned this is going to be an athletic team. What type of things can you do knowing the fact you're going to be so athletic, having that skill set? What does that allow you to do maybe a little bit more this year?
Well, we'll just be able to execute what we normally do, you know, at a higher level than we did last year.
And as for the areas that need to the most growth right now, what would top that list at the current time?
Well, we're still unproven because, you know, you can practice all you want, but nothing's ever full speed until you get game time. And last year I thought we were a little soft on defense, and hopefully that's what we're looking to see, if we're a little more physical and active on defense.
And Edco is going to be your opponent coming to town on Friday night. What do you know about the Vikings?
Nothing. They're coming down from 11-man, and they've had some success the last 3 years, and we have no idea, you know, we have kind of an idea what kind of athletes they have on the field. They got some kids that can play and have some speed, but we really have no idea as defensively, offensively, and they were pretty senior loaded last year on the team they did have. So, I mean, it's not like most games where you at least have, you know, maybe you can go back a year and look at film or whatever, or get some film. We're going in this as blind as I think I've ever gone into a game.
So is it fair to say you're going to focus a little bit more on yourself than on a scouting report right now?
Since there is no scouting report, that's a very fair thing to say. Yeah, we're just going to have to go out and do what we do. And, you know, I'm sure we're going to have to make adjustments as we come out and see what they are trying to do, and, you know, how they're trying to defend us, and how, you know, how they're trying to attack us. So there's probably going to be a few more timeouts called than normal.
All right. There's a reason to get 6 every night, Coach. Bottom line, you open up the season this week, and it's great to have football back. Keep your kids healthy. We wish best of luck.
Thanks, Darren.
Mark Scott, head coach of the Turkey Valley Trojans. They take on the Edco Vikings on Friday night. In what you heard this morning, the type of content that you heard this morning is going to be available each and every week digitally on the Winnis Communications websites, kvikradio.com, kneiradio.com, hawkrock.com, and kmrvradio.com. Each and every week, we'll talk to these 8 Iowa football coaches, and next week we'll start with a couple of Minnesota high school football coaches and get the insight on their teams, the review of the game just played, and the preview of the upcoming game. We do that every week. Go to the coaches' conversation page at the Winnis Communications website, and it will be there for you each and every week. We just decided here at the start of the football season, this was a great way to promote the content that we deliver to you each and every week. And more importantly, promote high school football and the young people that are involved in high school activities each and every week. Don't forget, each and every week, we'll have 4 high school football games on the air on our Winnis Communication stations as well. Thanks to our guest this morning, Turkey Valley football coach Mark Scott, Dan Anderson, the MFL Marmac coach, Justin Denner, Crestwood Cadet coach, Key High coach Chad Winters, also Justin Hines, North Fayette Valley's coach, Southwind coach Jason Ort, Chad Bierman, the head coach of the Walk-On Indians, and Pat Truin, the head coach of the Decorah Vikings. We thank you for tuning in, for logging on, or for watching another edition of Our Town, brought to you by Decorah Bank and Trust on 94.9 and 99.1 The River.